Hello, everyone. This is Brian Mueller from CompEdge, and today I'm going to walk you through an abbreviated 5-minute presentation on how I would present the Lincoln SVULone survivorship life policy to clients as part of their legacy plan if they are legacy inclined. Now, we're going to keep this short and sweet today, so if you have additional questions, please reach out to CompEdge at 800-431-4245. But I'm going to break this presentation down into 3 quick parts. 1, you must educate your clients, and I love to do so on the whiteboard as you see here. 2, once you've educated them on tax efficiency regarding legacy planning, you need to show them why this strategy could make sense within their own plan. I'm going to do that by taking you through a couple of pages of the NAVA plan. And then 3rd, you need to present the actual strategy, which is the Lincoln SVULone quote, and I will show you how to do that in a very efficient manner. So let's begin. Now on the screen here, I have my whiteboard, and I love doing a digital whiteboard with clients. If they're in office, obviously you can use a normal whiteboard. And I've went ahead and whiteboarded it out for the sake of time. But the idea here is to simply remind clients that all of their investments fall into one of 3 tax qualifications: taxable, tax-free, or tax-deferred funds, and that a majority of Americans have a huge chunk of their dollars in the tax-deferred bucket. Now, for many clients, that's perfectly fine, but it's not uncommon for first command clients to, in addition to their assets, have a guaranteed income source, if not multiple income sources, such as Social Security, military pensions, and/or federal pensions. And because of this, it's also very common that clients won't need to use all of their investable assets during their lifetime to meet their retirement income goals. Now, whether you need it for income or not, the reality is that with your tax deferred sources, at some point, the government's going to come knocking and they're going to require minimum distributions, or RMDs. And for clients that do not need these funds, what impact will that have on their taxes in a potentially higher tax rate environment? And could those RMDs also push them into a higher marginal tax bracket? And what impact would that also have on their Medicare premiums? So this is something that leads us a lot of times to talk Roth conversions with clients, where we look to move money from the traditional bucket to the tax-free bucket through a conversion. And in my example here, we converted $100,000 from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA and paid the taxes from the taxable bucket. Very common strategy for clients who want to get dollars from the tax-deferred bucket to the tax-free bucket to use for retirement to help mitigate the issues around taxes and Medicare premiums. But what about clients that will never use those funds, which may be more of your clients than you think? There's a second thing we have to worry about here, which is the Secure Act that went into play 2 years ago, and simply says that for dollars in the tax deferred bucket that pass on to any individual that is not a spouse and is more than 10 years younger than you at the time of death, then those dollars will have to be distributed within 10 years. So think about this. If your children are your beneficiaries, then they're going to be forced to distribute your tax deferred dollars that you don't use as part of your plan and upon your death within 10 years, and they will likely be in their highest income earning years in a potentially higher tax rate environment. And that can have a huge impact on how much of those dollars they actually get after tax. Would you rather have the government keep those dollars or your children get those dollars? How can we impact that, or how can we mitigate that? Well, Roth conversions is one way, but again, if we know we're not going to utilize those dollars as part of their plan, which is very common for first generation wealth clients, which most first command clients are, then instead of doing a traditional IRA to Roth conversion, what if you took that same $100,000 and applied it to a second to die or survivorship life policy? And an example that I'm going to use today of a 65-year-old male and female, it's not uncommon to see $100,000 if you were to do a single premium to a life insurance policy, that life insurance policy would immediately create $300,000 income tax free and create immediate leverage within the plan. So it's a great way to accomplish all the things that the Roth conversion accomplishes from a tax efficiency standpoint, but it gives us better leverage. So that's it for the marker board. Again, that's an abbreviated version. What I'm going to do now is go to the plan and show you how you show the clients, does this actually take place in their own plan? And then what's the strategy, being the second to die policy, that we can utilize to take care of this issue, if you will. Now, to show how this fits within the NAVA plan, I like to go to the retirement goal coverage page and show the clients that, hey, they're rock solid in their own retirement goal coverage. This client's at 100%. This is not my sample client today, but it's clients around the same age, 65 and 63. And even when we Monte Carlo tested these clients, they tested out extremely likely and very strong regarding meeting their own income needs in retirement. In fact, they have done such a good job of saving, and they have a couple of different income sources that are guaranteed, that despite meeting their income goals, Based on their plan, it's highly likely that they will pass on a significant amount of dollars to their $2. In this instance, two daughters, excuse me. In this instance, their net worth at plan in was projected to be right at $7 million, despite meeting all their retirement income needs. So unless this client is going to significantly increase their spending in retirement, which most of your clients won't, then we have to figure out how do we make sure that these dollars pass on tax efficiently, especially considering that a good chunk of their current assets, 1.6 million, are in the tax deferred bucket. Now this shows all qualified account activity, which would include Roth dollars, but the point is 1.1 out of $1.6 million of this client's current net worth is in qualified accounts. And as you can see, when RMDs come up, their RMDs are going to be significant. They're not needed to meet their income needs, which means we have to consider taxes and Medicare premiums for this couple while they're living. But despite these RMDs, these accounts continue to grow. And if these dollars pass on to their daughters, 4.2 million, almost 4.3 million, what kind of impact will that have when their daughters are likely in their peak earning years and likely a higher tax rate environment? And because of the Secure Act, they must take that money out within 10 years. So that's how we establish that, hey, this is something you must consider, because if you don't, the government's going to get more and your children are going to get less. Now, insert the SVULone as a potential strategy to help combat this. Now, this is the pages that I actually show, but before I do that, just really quickly, when you go to the illustration for the SVULone, two things. One, it's 58 pages. Don't let that overwhelm you. To get the point across on how this can help your clients, you only need to use 2 pages. But I also want to mention that it is the Lincoln SVULone. That means it's a variable product where the cash value is invested in sub-accounts, and therefore it is a product that has a prospectus. The good news is when you present the illustration to the clients and leave them with a copy of the illustration, you are leaving them with the prospectus. It's right here on the front page for them to utilize. Now, again, don't worry about the 58 pages. What I want you to do is click on the side gray bar here, click on the ribbon, and everything you need to get the point of this strategy across to your clients can be found on the additional reports, life expectancy summary report, guaranteed death benefit, and illustrated death benefit. Start with the guaranteed death benefit. What this shows for our couple is if they were to take $190,000 and leverage it towards a second to die death benefit, it would immediately buy almost $520,000 of income tax-free death benefit that's guaranteed for life. And what this page is showing us is should that client instead invest that $190,000 elsewhere and live to life expectancy, age 92, then what's the average rate of return they'd have to earn pre-tax if one of them lived to 92 to eventually have that 190 grow to 520 by the end of their life? And the answer is if one of them lived 27 years and they averaged 5.27% pre-tax, assuming a 28% tax rate, then this 190 would have eventually grown to 519 after tax and therefore have an equivalent benefit to what the guaranteed death benefit on this policy is day one. That's tax efficiency, that's guarantees, that's leverage, okay? Now, 2 quick points. You don't have to fund it over 1 year. You can fund it over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or fund it for life. The other thing to mention is some clients will say, well, I do think I'm going to live the life expectancy. I do think I can average that rate of return. So is this still a good fit? That's the beauty of the SVULone. Remember, the cash value is invested in sub-accounts. If those sub-accounts never perform, guess what? Your side account probably didn't perform, but you still get 519, 646 guaranteed no matter how your cash value performs. But if your cash value were to average 8%, then by life expectancy, our projected death benefit at no additional cost to the clients is $904,000. And now if that 190 were invested elsewhere, it would have to earn 8.26% pre-tax and have one of the clients live to 92 just to equal this death benefit. That's guarantees, that's tax efficiency, that's leverage, that's Lincoln SVULone. Thank you for your time today and reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.